year over year, month over month, year to date. Too many acronyms, too many words, too many formulas in Power BI. But how they work, what's the difference between them? It's easy. Year to date is simply the accumulation of your data, whether it's sales, whether it's quantity of something sold, whether it's whatever it is, up until today. You can set what's going to be the end date. For instance, it can be 31st of December or end of your business calendar, and to do these calculations. Year over year is different from year to date because sometimes people are confusing these two concepts. Year over year is used in order to understand what is the change in your data in the comparison to last year. You use some time intelligence tools in order to calculate this year over year, and the main objective to understand how your performance is evolving throughout the year, whether you are getting better or you are getting worse. So this is going to be an indicator showing how your business is doing now. Then there's also month over month, which is the same idea, but it applies throughout the month. It sounds a bit complicated, maybe a bit tricky, but it's not that hard that as you could imagine. So let's go to Power BI now, and I'm going to show you how to do. Here we go to the details, practical example of how to create a year over year in Power BI. And let's get rid of those recovered files. I'm not gonna apply now. All right, let's go. Yeah, so basically this is what we have now, and it's not nice at all. Let me show you what does it take. It takes, don't look at this because it's not a correct way. It's not the elegant way to do that. I'm gonna show you in the next video how to elegantly, accurately manage your measures in a separate table, but it's not the case today. So what we're gonna see today, how year over year works and what does it do. Year over year, as we told before, it's taking the previous value, it's taking the current value, yeah, and it's finding whether your performance is going evolving or it's getting worse, right? So you have the current value here, here your current value, because remember how was it working in Power BI. You have the context, role context filter that is taken based on the context. You're filtering your data, so you're based on the context, you're taking the sales amount, and then you're calculating the last year value. So how it works, you take the calculate. Actually, calculate takes two expressions. First, you have the expression, in our case is the sum of the sales amount, and second is the same period last year. It is taking the same period of last year based on the date that we have, but there's something going wrong here. Look at this. You don't want to have here infinity, because in that period you don't have actually the data. Let me just debug that's why we are here. I want to show you why it happens, and it might be also your case, it happens to you too. Just let me debug that for you. Let me show you, explain what is the reason that it's acting like that, the Power BI, right? So let me show you what does last value do here. Last value, let's return the last value for this, and we're gonna have just one value. We don't have the calculation or whatever it is, just returning the last value, which is we are calculating here, right? And what we're gonna see to keep here the last value and the current value. Let me go to sales again and take the sales amount, which was our case. This is the problem that because uh, in the calculation we don't have actually last value for those period here, and we don't have the current value for this period here because for the 2021 our data is finishing in 2020 quarter 2, and since we have created date table and we didn't make the constraint, so it's oftentimes it's good to make the constraint that the maximum value of your date table is going to finish when you have available date and your fact data, right? In our case, we missed that part, and now we want to figure out how can we fix our issue. You see here, we go much more beyond with the date in the date table, and it goes until we have the previous value of the next year. So for 2021, we don't have the value of the same period than the actual value, but we have the last period's value. So that's why we have more data for our calculation rather than this. This is creating the problem, and let me show you then other how can we actually solve this first issue. It's basically let me remove this one here. So that's the formula that we want to get, right? Current value minus the last value divided to the last value is giving you the percentage change. It's very common in the finance actually, in order to calculate the returns, and finance pros are always using that. So instead of doing just this calculation, we are saying go and filter for me wherever it's not a blank. So current value is not blank. I don't want a blank values for the current. So this one should not be blank. And whenever the last value is not blank, because I cannot calculate the percentage change when I don't have the last value for that, right? Basically, so in first step, we are just getting rid of all blanks, the blank data that is going in our calculations. Let's remember what was the problem here. Let me show you. Give me a second. So we had this kind of thing, and let's get rid of this one, and let's go to the year over year. Now you see it starts from 2018 quarter 3, where we have both either the current value and the last value, and it finished in 2020 instead of 2021, where we have the both values. So this is basically how you calculate it. You have the percentage. In order to get the percentage, don't forget one step here, because it's important. Here, when you select on this, click on this, just click on this percentage, because otherwise you're gonna have the different value. It's not gonna be percent. So it's kinda multiplying it to 100. So let's add the percentage here. Let's close this, and let's change the name for this, because I don't want to be year over year by year and so on and so forth. I want to have here a specific name, or we can add the name here, but I'm not going to go to the details. All right, I don't want to complicate this video, and just I'm going to call it year over year sales amount. All right, as you see here, we always was making the progress, and that's cool, that's great.